Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'm very sorry today I got late. And the reason being is that there was some VIP movement and there was a big jam. Routes were diverted. So you see that even with Central Vista project, we are facing so many problems. Our daily commuter is facing so many problems. Then commuting is a really big issue. And particularly traffic jams and diversions and such other issues are very big. So these are the profound issues which are impacting the daily commuter. So in this case, what does Central Vista signifies? Somehow it remains a superficial approach, and that is why the topic of today's class is superficiality in profundity. Means even with so many profound issues, what we are facing is somehow a superficial approach. So ultimately, you will realize it that why this is the heading of the class. The news, if you will see, is election promise and new guidelines by election commission, Collegium system, national party, house panels, daily air quality. So in nearly every of the facts or every of the news, you will see that we are following a superficial approach. Particularly when we talk about the election promise and its resolution by election commission. First, let me explain the meaning of superficiality in profundity. And I am extremely sorry that I missed this topic in the last class, peace above justice. That was the quotation which can be serve as a perspective while writing the essays. And today there are two topics, success lies in courage. You see that success lies in courage is the motto of Nehru Institute of Mountaineering, and it really is a good topic on which we can write the essay. So we all know that Edmund Hillary was the first person to win the Everest or to climb the Everest. But what we don't know that in 1924 itself, there was a person, there was a British expedition team in the name of George Mallory. Okay, and he tried to climb the Everest first of all. So when he was asked that why you want to risk your life for something like this, why you want to climb the mountain? So what was his reply was, because it is there. You see that, such an issue, how he handled it in such a superficial way. And this is what called superficiality in profundity. We know that what we are doing and the profound impact of it. But the approach that we are taking is a superficial one. So subsequently, we will discuss the whole topic. But first of all, let me start with the election promise. The election promise. So, day before, yesterday, there was a guideline by the election commission on which a performer was presented, whereby, the modus operandi for financing the various election promise has to be shown. So you see, the problem is that these are the points that it wanted to amend the model code to ask political parties to provide authentic information to voters on the financial viability of the poll promises. Particularly if you are following the news, then you see about the Draupadi culture as professed by our Prime Minister on particularly some political parties, and we see that due to the populism and increasing inequality, the culture of freebies is gaining prominence all across India or all across world probably to be safe in this context. So, Election Commission proposed to amend the Model Code of Conduct to add a performer to the Part 8 Guidelines on Election Manifesto of the Model Code of Conduct, and it seeks detail of the revenue generation ways through additional tax if any, rationalizing expenditure, cutting some schemes if required, impact on committed liabilities and raising of future debates, and its impact on fiscal responsibility and budget management act. So, you see that these parts are somehow related to cutting down the expenditure or legit source of that how they will finance the promises that they are making. So, this was the guideline, but the issue is, you see that to an extent it is justified as it is directly and intricately linked to access timely and reliable information, and information is the key. That first voter has to be aware that what is the situation and how are they financing it, because you see that there is no limit to the information or promises being made. Sometimes these principles or promises can be unethical also. For example, in 1990s there was a government who proposed that there should be a right to cheat in the examination so that student can fetch good marks. Okay, and though it is not a type of open book examination, but they were professing that there should be a right to copy. Now, so you see that nowadays every political party is saying that okay, this will be done and that will be done, but they are not explaining that from where these resources will come. A case in point being West Bengal, or for example, what is happening right now in Punjab, electricity issues. Or day before yesterday we have discussed the provisions about the NFSA even by the central government. So, the important part is that FRBM and somehow the fiscal responsibility is being attached or attacked. So, you see that what was the, and in this case what is the role of Election Commission. So, Article 324 of the Indian Constitution vests the power of superintendence, direction and control of election to parliament and state legislature and offices of the president and vice president in the Election Commission. But this part, the other part that we have discussed, does not directly fall under the purview of the Election Commission, first of all. Second, that when there was a debate on the cultures of freebie and what was the standing point of, or what was the point of Election Commission was that it would be difficult for any of the commissions to become the arbitrator of what is and what is not a reasonable poll promise. This is important point, that what is and what is not is a reasonable poll promise or freebies, okay, or freebies, and what is because of problems of definition. Freebie can have a different impact on society, economy, equity, and both freebies and irrationals are subjective and open to interpretations. Like day before yesterday when we were discussing the tax cuts. So, tax cuts can be considered, corporate tax cuts can be considered as a part of freebie, but it is difficult to ascertain that where the money is flowing or where the money will flow, as we have discussed in the previous class, that probably say if we are cutting down the tax for the rich and it is not being translated into investment within the country, then it serves no point. So, you see the objectivity of any freebies and its impact on ascertaining the overall beneficial outcomes for the society is beyond the purview of Election Commission. and particularly when this matter is subjudiced. So, figuratively we can say that this part is taking a political plunge, because there is an increasing inequality, okay, and in such case different political parties are making different tools of persuasion that if you will vote us, then we will do this. But there should be a legitimate and constitutional valid means to ascertain this. But as of now, we can say that this was the previous viewpoint of Election Commission, and to an extent it is very valid. So, this is why there was an article that the Election Commission has taken a political plunge. But again, you see that information is also necessary. So, we have to create a balance, and the balancing point would be that yes, information is necessary, but you see that it should come from some higher authorities like Supreme Court and such other issues. So, that was the first news. Second news is the Collegium system, and it is there because Justice UA Lilith, who will be retiring on November the 12th, sent for 5 names to be elevated to the Supreme Court. And for the first time in the constitutional or the history of the Supreme Court, it was done through a circulation of writing. That the writing was circulated in the various collegium, and 2 judges objected to it, that it should not be done. The problem being that one of the judges was very overloaded with the case, and he said that he cannot attend a meeting of the collegium which was scheduled on September 30th. So, that is why this is there in the news. So, in this case we have to understand that what is Collegium system and how it evolved. That it is a system of appointment and transfer of judges that has evolved through the judgment of the Supreme Court, and not an act by Parliament and provision of the constitutions. So, it started with the first judge case. Now, going a bit of understanding a bit of history in this case, we all know about the Kesavananda Bharati case, and that was a time where the judiciary was in conflict with the executive. So, after that Kesavananda Bharati case, there was another case which is very important, ADM Jabalpur versus Shukla. So, in this case there was a Justice H.R. Khanna, who gave a dissenting judgment, saying the words like there is a brooding spirit of the law. What he meant was that for ultimately it is the Supreme Court on which people looks to resolve the problem, and when that Supreme Court is not resolving the problems of the common man, it will result in the brooding spirit of law, that is decreasing spirit of law. And ultimately you see that what we are witnessing today is that some people are questioning that the Supreme Court has become very elitist, and even that question was prevailing at that time. To resolve this, there was an instrument which was devised called PIL. Okay, so this has been flowing through quite some time in the history. But the important point is that why we mentioned that ADM Jabalpur case was because after that dissenting note, Justice Khanna, who was the most senior judges in the Supreme Court, was not made the CJI, and the judge who made the CJI gave a favorable judgment to the government, and he compared state as a materialistic institute, matrilineal institute. See, basically materialistic in this case, that state is always considered as a paternalistic institute where state will take care of your needs. So, he said that okay, jail is a good place where you are getting the security as well as the food and all the necessary needs. So, what is the need to come out of the jail? Because he wanted to emphasize his allegiances to the government of the day, and at that time Indira Gandhi was ruling, that is why it is called materialistic. So, this is the case, and because of that, as he was not made, as he was sided, the first judge's case evolved. and in 1981 it declared that the primary of the CGI recommended on judicial appointment and transfer can be refused for cogent reasons. The ruling gave executive primacy over the judiciary in judicial appointment for next 12 years. So, and this flowed down because at that time the government was of the majority rule. So, in the second judge's case, SC introduced the Collegium system holding the consultation means concurrence. Okay, concurrence means that you have to take viewpoint of all the judges. So, it added that it was not the CGI's individual opinion, but an institutional opinion formed in consultation with the two senior most judges. Now, in 1998, SC on the precedent reference article 142 expanded Collegium to 5-member body, comprising the CGI and 4 of his most senior colleagues. That is why Justice Lalit consulted the 5 judges, and only when there is a concurrence in the opinion, the name is forwarded to the executive, and after that it is upon the executive to send the name back or to proceed with the concurred names. So, it was changed, it was tried to change in 2014 NJAC case, but the thing is right now, the important part is that who heads the Collegium. So, SC Collegium is headed by the CGI and comprise 4 other senior most judges of the court, and SC Collegium is led by the Chief Justice and 4 senior of the High Court. Name recommended for appointment by SC Collegium reaches the government only after approval by CGI and SC Collegium. Judges of the higher judiciaries are appointed only through the Collegium system, and the government has a role only after the names have been decided by the Collegium. So, this was the about the Collegium system and its evolution in India, though it has often been alleged that it is not transparent. It has often been alleged that if judges are appointing their own person, then who will be guarding the guardians, because there is no say of that whom you are appointing, and there has been many instances where there was a controversy. So, this was about the Collegium system that we are witnessing. The third news will be National Party, because there is a news that TRS is now Bharatiya Rashtra Samiti. So, which will be now. So, what are the national parties? So, registration of political parties, it comes under first the registration of the political parties. Registration of political parties is governed by the provision of the section 29A of the Representations of People Act 1951. Representation of the People Act 1951. Yes, 1951. Now, a party seeking registration under the said section with the commission has to submit an application to the commission within the period of 30 days. That is why you will see that the TRS will be going to the election commission. Election Commission of India, in exercise of the powers conferred by the Article 324 of the Commission and Section 29 of the Representation of the People Act. So, this was about the registration of the political parties. Now, what are the eligibilities to it? At the national level, it secures at least 6% of the valid votes polled in any of the 4 or more states. 6%, a minimum of 6%, and in 4 or more number of states at a general election to the House of the People or to the state legislative assemblies. In addition, it wins at least 4 seats in the House of the People from the states or states. It wins at least 2% of the seat in the House of the People, that is 11 seats in the existing parliament, and these members are elected from at least 3 different states. So, these are the criteria. Now, the state party, what is a state party? It secures at least 6%, again 6% of the valid votes polled in the states at a general election. Second, either to the House of the People or that same. In addition, it wins at least 2 seats in the legislative assemblies. It wins at least 3% of the total number of seats in legislative assemblies of the states, or at least 3 seats in the assembly, whichever is more. So these are the eligibilities. But the important point is that why a political party wants to be a registered political party or a national political party. So first of all, if it is a national political party, then it will get an exclusive symbol. Exclusive symbol. You see that, I am giving you the example of 2 political parties whose symbols are bow and arrow. One is Shiv Sena, bow and arrow symbol. Other is Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, again bow and arrow symbol. So in this case, whenever a Shiv Sena candidate will win election in Jharkhand, then this part symbol will be transferred to Shiv Sena if it is a national political party. But right now, there is no exclusivity over it. Further, they also get the broadcast, telecast facilities over the Akashvani or Doordarshan or any of the government media platforms. A recognized national or state party can have a maximum of 40 star campaigners whose travel arrangement and expenditure is not counted in the election expense of the accounts. So this is the reason because of which any political party wants to be a political party. I believe that you understood the criteria and the advantage of that political parties. Now, moving to the next news from the polity section is that this is the first time in the history where the majority of the seats are with not with the primary opposition party or the second largest party. Only 1 seat is with the Congress as of now. No, so what is a parliamentary committee? Nominated by the speakers, which works under the direction of the speaker. It represents its reports to the House of People. Now, constitutional provisions, committee draw the authority from, see, it is not specifically mentioned. Article 105 on privilege of the parliamentary members, in Article 118 on the parliamentary authority to make rules for regulating its procedures and conduct of business, but it is not specifically mentioned. Most committees are standing committee as their existence is uninterrupted and usually reconstituted on the annual basis, yearly. Some are select committees formed for a specific purpose, for instance, to deliberate on a particular bill. In 1990, see, these are the facts, but the important point is that what is the consultative committee? Consultative committee are a committee called consultative committee for parliamentary committee in the following ways. They consist members from both the house of the parliament. 1. Ministers of state in charge can be the chairman of the committee concerned with the ministry of that ministry. In the house panel, no minister is a chairman of that person and he cannot be a member also. They act as the bridge between the members of parliament and ministers of government policies and for the effective governance. And these are the constituted by the Ministry of Parliament Affairs. It takes responsibilities of everything of that committee. The membership of the committee is voluntary and may vary. The maximum member may be 30 and minimum is 10. So these are the part about the consultative committee, and as against this, a committee is called a parliamentary committee if it meets the following requirement: appointed by the House of People, appointed by the House or nominated by the Speaker or Chairman, works under the direction of the Speaker. It should present its reports to the House or the Speaker or Chairman. It should have a secretariat followed by the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. The Constitution of India makes a mention of these committees at different places, but without making any specific provision regarding their composition, tenure and functions. All these matters are dealt by the rules of the two houses. Okay. So this was largely from the polity sections, which can be used in the, this part was generally can be used in the prelims or the mains part also. Now there is this new initiative in Sangli Sangli in Maharashtra, where the educational outcome was poor. So, it can be used as an appropriate example for the governments. So, from this programs, learning improvement program highlights upon the child assessed individually, preparing report cards and distributing to the class teachers, devising strategies to teach studently foundational language and numerical skills, encouraging teachers to get creative, involving mothers in learning and forming WhatsApp groups. The project has come a long way in the last 3 months. See, basically, what was the issues that learning outcomes were not improving. So, DM, District Magistrate or IAS proposed that there should be a consultative committee. So, probably we can see it as a decentralized approach, because when a book is given, nobody is interested and they think that it is imposed, as we were discussing before yesterday about the education wala part. So, it is imposed. Now, what they are doing is they are consulting the mothers and they are teaching as a volunteer mothers in different subjects through the stories or through the groups, so that people and children can get more involved, and they are localizing the context so that the learning outcome can improve, and it is being improved to a significant extent. So, right now they are significant. So, you see that when we teachers give ready-made content, their acceptance level is low. So, they ask them to their own content, and they did it through involving the local population and building local narrative into it. You see, this is an approach of the decentralized education, and it is working in Sangli district. Now, there is this another news, news of graded response. Again, you see that that's why again it is called the superficiality over profundity. The problem, the daily weather can be really critical in the winter, particularly due to many factors, one of them being stubble burning, and there are so many pollution. So, a graded response and action plan is adopted. In this, first of all, they stop all the construction activities with plot size of more than 500 square meter, which do not have registered or dust mitigation monitoring portals. Further, they enforce guidelines on the use of anti-smoke guns at the construction site, mechanized water sprinkling on the road, enforcing ban on open burning of waste and PUC for vehicles, discoms to minimize power cuts, encourage offices to start unified commute. Second, stage 2, when it is very poor, not allowing coal, firewood or tandoors at the hotels, stopping use of diesel vehicles except for the diesel generators except for the essentials and emergency services, enhancing parking fee to discourage private transport, boost CNG, e-buses, metro services. State when it is severe plus, stop entry of trucks into the Delhi except for the essential CNGs and electric trucks. Ban on plying of Delhi registered diesel, medium and heavy goods vehicle except for the essentials. Ban on plying of the 4-wheeler diesel vehicles in Delhi and NCR district bordering except BS6 vehicles and emergency services. When it is very severe, when it is, that part I missed, but state government may consider addition emergency like closure of the schools or even in drive. NCR state government to decide on the allowing public, municipal and private offices to work on 50% of the strength, and ban on combination linear public projects such as the highway and flyovers. So, these are the graded response, and it depends upon the AQI index based on the criteria of poor, very poor, severe, severe plus. But if we overall analyze the efficacy of it, then we see that it is not working in that particular context. So, again this remains a superficial approach. Now, important news related with the pre-part or factual part, which is 3 scientists, Caroline Bartoggi, Morten Meldal and Barry Sarpens, works were awarded Nobel Prize this year on the use of the click chemistries. Click chemistry ultimately refers to, there is this Lego game where you have to join two pieces, one is whole, one is with the hole and one is with the pin. So you join them together, conjoin them together. So they exactly did this, and it can be used in various treatment, developing cancer treatment, directly targeting tumor cells. Mendel, through his experience, came up with the useful chemical structure called triazoles, which are stable and found in pharmaceutical dyes and agriculture chemicals. Bertozzi, using the work of Sharples and Mendel, came up with an efficient and innovative method of MAP glycans, which are carbohydrate-based polymers made by all living organisms. Chemistry inside the human body is possible because of them, because they make sure drug goes to the right places and stay away from the wrong places through the click chemistry. And it is also a biological discovery tool that allows scientists to see new molecules that we did not know existed. Okay. So, this was the part about the important part. You have to remember the name, you have to remember click chemistries, and you have to remember the triazoles. So, this is what you will remember, and the application. Application can be anywhere, even in pharmaceutical industries or in the dye industries also. Now, this is the news, though not relevant, but it can be used as to show the positive side of GM mosquitoes, where they will decrease the life cycle of mosquito, and the mosquito will kill another mosquito, and it will result in eradication of the malaria. But the problem is that such kind of news appear every 2 or 3 years, but it is not being implemented as of now. The part is that some CSO, civil society, Bill and Melinda Gates foundations are developing this model, and the issues can be solved in Asia and Africa. Now, OPEC plus, a part related with the factual part, because in the news, because they increase the price of the barrels per barrel gas. Okay. Now, non-OPEC countries which export crude oil also termed as OPEC plus non-OPEC country. That is the distinction that you have to remember, and termed as OPEC plus countries. OPEC plus countries include Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Brunei, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Mexico, Oman, Russia, South Sudan, and Sudan. Now, OPEC is a permanent and intergovernmental organization created by Baghdad Conference of 1960s by Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. It aims to manage and supply of oil in an effort to set the price of oil in the world market in order to avoid fluctuation that might affect the economies of both producing and purchasing countries. But that is a part, largely it is being used as a cartelization tool to artificially increase the price and stabilize the price. Third, the organization OPEC countries is the members of the OPEC countries. It is headquartered in Vienna, Australia. In order to avoid, yes, it is headquartered in Vienna and Australia. Now, there is this news, sports ethic news, Hans Niemann has likely cheated in more than 100 online chess games, including several prize money games. You see that there is a crisis that is ongoing in the chess world, where Magnus Carlsen, the top rated player, has resigned quite few times with this sports person, Niemann. Though initially they were both very good friends and he worked with his organization, but he started his career as a YouTuber, and there has been often allegations that he cheated in the online chess games at the chess.com. So, what we are here witnessing is two sides of it. One, that what is the limit in the limits of the sport ethics. Second, how this pertains to a conflict of interest, because sooner or later chess.com, which is the largest website of the chess, is acquiring the Magnus Plus. So, and chess.com is acting as a judge against the Hans Niemann, and it is saying, though Hans Niemann has accepted that he cheated quite 1 or 2 times when he was at 14 and 16, but he is playing fairly. But chess.com is saying that he is not playing fairly, and it is creating a sense of crisis in the chess world, because Magnus Carlsen remains a top rated player. But ultimately what we have to realize is that professional sport had become a distorted form of physical activity control, physical or mental activity control by the power elites and shaped by the needs of the corporate logic. You see that what was happening in what is happening in the cricket or football when Australia player tempered the ball, or South Africans are tempering the ball and using various things. So these are creating, because they have to win at any cost. So at part of the entertainment industry, sports has become commodified, commercialized and spectacularized. In this heady ideological mix, athletes are encouraged and even expected to cheat. So, but here what we are supposed to discuss is what is the moral identity and cheating attitude. So it is related to anticipated regret. Anticipated regret, which is, you see that probably if you will lose, okay, then you will feel that we are not with, if it could have been done, if I could have stayed even after knowing that I was out, that it could have served a greater purpose. So anticipated regret is forcing any athlete to cheat, as well as it is also deterring the athletes to cheat from. For example, like Steve Smith and David Warner cried after the press conference when they found that they cheated and they were banned. So, the anticipated regret is acting as a mechanism, because the regret that you say, probably if India lost the World Cup and if somebody would have given out, or he knew that he knew that he was out, but he never walked away. So, see, because he knew that if he will walk away, his team can result, it can result in losing. So this is something called anticipated regret. So the mechanism for understanding this is that individual reputation as well as group reputations. So how they are impacting with each other, and they are interdependent also. See, even if Sachin is scoring 100, Sachin was scoring 100 and team was losing, as happened during the India-Pakistan match. So people blame the team and he is a member. So it enforces and creates a sense of interdependencies. So in this case, what was group past behavior and what is group current behavior also impacts current member behavior. Like Australia was considered as a team of cheaters, or slagers. So, even the new players who are coming, they are slaging quite, frequently. And more importantly, if you will talk about the football world, there are these two clubs, the match generally dubbed as El Clasico, Barcelona or Real Madrid. It was often said that the Barcelona plays with the ethics and they play with the group solidarity, as against the Real Madrid, where the individual heroics is often considered. And it started a long back in 1956 when the King of Spain threatened the Barcelona, because Barcelona comes from a Basque nation. So the regional affiliation and feeling is very strong. So it is also pertaining to that part of the group behavior, group's past behavior. They are working, the Barcelona team is working because their behavior, they are considered as a, very ethical club. So, and group's current form, group's current behavior. So these are the things which completely dependent upon the ethics of that, dependent upon the overall board behavior, individual reputation, group reputation. So how to stop the parts of the cheating? So it has been suggested that the boards should punish them, the player who go unpunished. Because many a times, as it happens that sometimes you don't report a issue, or the umpires or the referee generally can't see everything of this. So in this case, the ethical imperative or mandate lies with the board to punish the unpunished players and to inculcate the values in each and every of the players. So you don't go partying like, what was Hardik Pandya in 2016 or 17, whatever is the year, or what is Hardik Pandya right now. So there is a sense of ethical behavior. Arrogance, in the case of Kohli, it should be limited. So this was about the sports ethics. Now there is this news of Draupadi ka Danda, we all know about it, that nearly 16 people died while trekking in Uttarakhand in Garhwal Himalaya range. Draupadi ka Danda is 2 peaks in the Gangotri range of the Garhwal Himalaya in Uttarakhand, and Dokarni glacial emerges from the northern slope of the mountain. So the issue is they were trekking as a part of the institution called Nehru Institute of Mountaineering. It is an institute which was formed after India suffered heavy losses against the China in the 1962 war. So it was conceived as an institute where the army personnel can be trained and we can excel in the mountaineering segment. So it is located at Uttarkasi and it was instituted in 1965. So, and it is certified by the International Federation for Climbing and Mountaineering. But the issue is that they are trained in the mountaineering activities because of the tough conditions at the eastern front and to an extent also western front. And the Raksha Mantri is the head of National Institute of Mountaineering. It was framed only after 1962 defeat. Now, other factual news is that emergency credit line guarantee schemes, the mandate has also increased to the civil aviation, and it was introduced after the COVID crisis to help the medium and small sectors, which comes under the purview of ECLGS 3.0. So this was another prelims news. Now coming back to our first topic, which was about the essay topic, success lies in the courage. So this was about the motto of the Nehru Institute of Mountaineering, where you have to, what is courage first of all, if you try to think about it. Courage is something that you are better prepared than the average person. And if you are better prepared than the average person, then there are chances that you will succeed in your endeavor. See, there is no pleasure in just winning or trekking or mountaineering, but you were better prepared and you know that the conditions will be bad, yet you tried to win it. So that was the topic, that's why it is the motto of Nehru Institute of Mountaineering. Second, peace above justice. Peace above justice is from the last class, and I'm really sorry that I haven't discussed that in that class. I will discuss it today. Peace above justice is seen in the context of multiple viewpoints in case of Ukraine, where there is a view in the European countries that at least the war should stop now. So in this case, there will be peace. But what about justice? Ukraine will not be getting justice, and this has exactly happened during the Crimean crisis in 2014, when Barack Obama literally, just overlooked what Russia did in the Crimea. So you see, in pursuit of the peace, justice was ignored, and we are seeing the distorted form of conflict after a gap of 8 years. So don't you think that, peace without justice will create doors for the future problem? For example, what happened in during the ancient India, or even what is happening now, not exactly now, before 1947 or before the advent of British per se, that though there was peace among the various castes in India, but there was not justice. Okay. So such nature, if the nature of peace will be like this, then such nature of peace is short-lived, and any point, and it is open to confrontation. It will happen sooner or later. So peace without justice is temporary. But at the same time, if there will be peace, there are chances to grow. And gradually, after some time, there are chances that it will result in benefit for all. For example, a case in point is, European Union, where many multiple small countries are being supported by EU so that their economy can be and the people can be benefited from. So, see, and though just remember the times that how much conflict was there during the times of Second World War. So, this is how you are supposed to touch the essays, that you have to identify multiple perspectives while writing any of the essay. Okay. So, I believe that I have nearly covered all of the news. Okay. And yes, so that will end our discussion of the today's paper. Thank you very much.